Christmas, everyone. While most of you are currently nestled in the warmth of a festive food coma, surrounded by discarded wrapping paper and the gentle hum of central heating, I've decided to celebrate this season by virtually freezing my extremities off. Because nothing says peace on earth like being trapped in a Siberian nightmare where the only gifts you receive are broken pickaxes and a blizzard that wants your soul. So grab a leftover mince pie, stay close to the radiator, and let's talk about why you should probably stay indoors. If there's one thing John Carpenter's 1982 masterpiece The Thing hammered home with its icy sledgehammer, it's that a desolate frozen wasteland is an absolute chef's kiss setting for horror. Whether you're on a spaceship like in The Alien or submerged in the crushing depths of Soma, isolation is a secret sauce. Kriophobia takes that frozen isolation, cranks it up to 11, and adds a blizzard that wants to personally escort you to the afterlife. You play as Anna, part of a small scientific expedition trapped on a remote base, with weather that has a personal vendetta against your extremities, and polar bears as your only potential rescue. The place is also infested with monsters, the result of a secret experiment. A typical survival horror trope. The visuals grab you by the parka hood immediately. Everything looks like it's been freshly sketched with a pencil. A delicious aesthetic that makes the world feel like a haunted sketchbook. It's easily the game's greatest strength, though the artistic choice does mean some darker rooms devoted into a visual model, making you wonder if you're about to be eaten by a monster or if you just need to wipe a smudge off your monitor. Once you dig into the gameplay, prepare for a literal sea of text. The game has bypassed the whole voice acting trend entirely, so you'll be poring over a veritable novel of documents to uncover the plot. Unfortunately, the story itself is about as fresh as the last year's fruitcake. It's a collection of rather cliche, mediocre tropes that we've seen done better a dozen times before. By the time it tries to pull at your heartstrings with a deeply emotional ending, I was left feeling entirely, well, cold. I've have genuinely welcomed even the most ham-fisted voice performance just to break up the reading and give those tired plot points some actual life. The game does, by the way, have multiple endings, though I've only seen one. The survival mechanics, however, are where things get truly special. Your inventory capacity is that of a very determined squirrel, leading to a delightful amount of backtracking to a trusty item box. Now, backtracking is pretty common in games like this. I'm not a huge fan of it, but if you are, then you'll probably enjoy this more. Meanwhile, your melee weapons seem to be constructed from the finest artisanal glass. My pickaxes and wrenches shattered faster than my hopes for a warm vacation, forcing me to hoard melee weapons like they were precious heavy bullets. Speaking of bullets, there are no firearms in the game, and in my opinion, that's definitely a negative. I think this game would definitely benefit from having at least a few guns at your disposal. And then there is the constant battle against the temperature. You would think being indoors would offer some festive comfort, but the rooms and corridors in this base are a thermal lottery. You'll wander from one room into a hallway that is explicably 50 degrees colder than the last, causing your heat meter to plummet and your character to start feeling like a forgotten ice cube. Your only resource is a frantic dash to a heater in the safe room or take a warm pill. Seriously? Warm pills? Are those even exist? A bottle of vodka would feel far more thematically appropriate than this. Wouldn't you agree? And then we must discuss the dash. Apart from me having fun doing this for some unknown reason, I said to myself, I don't know exactly what the game will throw at me since the developers added this to my character's ability, but I'm pretty sure I'm in for a treat. Well, I was wrong. Thought my whole playthrough I didn't use it a single time, simply because the need never arose. Combat follows suit, boiling down to a pointing a glorified flashlight at an evil entity that will randomly and annoyingly appear from time to time, or hitting those leech like monsters with fragile melee weapons. With controls that feels like you're wrestling a greased up octopus, it's about as tedious as watching paint freeze. The technical polish is equally old school. Some camera angles look really nice, but some look like they were chosen by a drunken cinematographer. There's also a big monster that will sometimes try to stalk you, like Mr. X from Resident Evil 2, but unlike him, this one prefers just teleporting directly onto your toes sometimes, rather than actually hunting you. The game was developed by a small studio in Brazil called Firasoft, and they claim that it was in development for a full 10 years. Now that's some hellish dedication I do respect. Ultimately, Kriophobia is a game with a heart and striking visuals, but for every moment of intriguing art and a Carpenter-esque atmosphere, there's a baffling gameplay decision or a monster AI that misplaces brain cells. It's a mid-core frozen treat. You eat it, you finish it, and by the time you're having your Xmas dinner, you have forgotten its quirks. It's a perfect game to play if you already devour all the good presents and now just waiting for the turkey. Merry Christmas, everybody.